Chepchumba.
I'm going to call her Chums. No. Yo, Chums. What are you
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, give me that.
Come on.
Nikita Kering, Chepchumba. She's an award-winning musician, a fantastic performing artist, an exemplary artist. She might be right next to me while we make this interview, and
know.
that's why I am worried. Or her performance might have been. It wasn't a performance, though. It was
Insights.
I don't even know what to call it.
Her perspective,
Like,
and her insights to the topic.
I'm so mind blown every time I go back, and now like I have a recollection of the episode in my head. I'm so mind blown by everything.
For sure. The depth that we went to was very unexpected. And we were saying off camera as a joke to her, like her mind versus her age, it doesn't compute because she's her insights to the world are extremely mature, and it was very, very refreshing to listen to.
I don't think the word isn't refreshing. Hey, this let me tell you guys, we're reviewing this episode, and every time I go back to it, like I just keep seeing images in my head, and every time I see her speak, like I don't even know what to think. So before I embarrass myself any further, I hope you enjoy
Listen to this
podcast. How much has enjoyed making it because we had a ball. Enjoy.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Mantalk.ke. A very exciting episode today, but before we get into that, as you can see, we are back in Kofisi, and this one is on Riverside Drive, right? So basically, they've taken up multiple floors here. You can go to each floor, there's different things on each one, but the thing that stays the same is that there is amazing technology throughout the whole building. So if you need to do presentations, etc., Kofisi, Riverside, come through and tell them that we sent you. Thank you, Kofisi. Now, jumping into the episode. We're going to now switch to the wide lens, and you can see in the middle, we have, I don't even know how to describe it. How would you describe what is in the middle of set right now?
Absolutely dangerous.
Just dangerous.
Just danger. She's a fantastic musician. She's celebrated. She's incredible. She's an incredible young girl from a fantastic family, but she's absolutely dangerous.
So we've spent about 10 minutes before recording, and we have loved the energy that she's given us, and we hope that you'll get.
Have we?
It's been fantastic.
Have we loved?
I've had a great time with this, I'll be honest. So welcome to Mantalk. Thank you for making the time. You told me about your schedule today, and it was hectic. So yeah, thank you for the.
Anytime. Thank you. I love you guys. I love watching your stuff on Instagram. Your shorts always get to me. And when I followed you guys, you were like, welcome to the Mantalk family. And
Hey.
Yeah,
welcome.
And now welcome to set, right?
Thank you.
What was the first? I know, right? Kofisi.
It's crazy.
Kofisi. Co-working space. If you need to come and plug in.
There's also
I'm definitely
technology.
going to come back.
Yeah, there's like a studio in the other one as well.
What?
Yeah. For podcasts, but it doesn't matter.
You know, for your voice,
Thanks
for
for
your
the
voice,
plugging.
I feel
Thank
like you can do a lot.
I'm curious, what was the first clip that you saw of Mantalk? How did you find us?
I don't remember what you exactly were saying, but it was you.
I'm blushing.
And if you go through it, I think you'll see that I liked it, maybe even commented. But recently I was watching the TMI feature. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Oh, it was.
I really thought that was interesting.
So you never know who's watching. You never know who's watching our stuff.
Now, the fact that Nikita Kering is watching our content is an honor, so thank you very much.
Oh, wow, thank you.
And welcome to the Mantalk community. We made sure that you know that we are valued, and the work that you've done as a musician, we care about.
Awesome.
And also, fantastic shoe game. We must comment on these sneakers.
Sorry.
Yeesh.
I mean,
Award-winning actress, living with the drip, old school look. You can see the chains.
Thank you.
Come on.
So there's a typical thing with like artists that they express themselves through what they wear, right? What do you describe as like your thing? Because I'm getting like streetwear, but I'm also getting 90s retro, you mentioned earlier. Where does this, what's this?
What's going on?
Well, to be quite honest, how I dress has nothing to do with who I am as an artist. It's now who I am as the home person. I'm called Chumba, by the way. At home I'm called Chumba or Chums.
Going
like
forward,
money,
should we
like
say
Chums?
Going forward in this interview?
No.
Okay.
She made that very clear.
No, you do what you want to do. But I think sometimes I just want to be comfortable, and if I like what I see, I wear it. It's not anything deep, and I like what I see, so I wear it. Thank you.
I think sometimes we think artists are thinking deep about everything.
Yeah, maybe others do, but for me, it's not really that.
For the info, we also like what we see. Just letting you know. Anyway,
now first question.
Let's go to the first question. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, you thought you'd be dangerous alone.
Okay.
Someone needs to be referee here. I will take that role. I'm taking the role.
So it's 1,
Yeah,
a
1.
million, 0.
0. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. 0.
All right, so let's start with the first question before we go on a tangent. So the first question we always ask our guests is based on the fact that a lot of men get a lot of blowback in terms of being toxic and being overt in terms of how they use their masculinity and how they express it in their lives. So we need to change that narrative by people like you telling us things about men that you actually enjoy and actually love to experience.
Yeah.
Right. So the first question I have is, what's the one positive thing about the men in your life that you want to keep seeing and want to keep seeing being done by others?
That they're present. And by present, I don't just mean there. I mean they're intentional with our interactions and intentional when it comes to our relationship. So we're able to grow together. I think that's one thing that I would say. And the way that I appreciate presence is there is no construct as to how present you should be as a man in a woman's life and how it should be. It's just giving all of you. And that's what they've done for me. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's deep. I think men struggle with that though.
Yeah.
Like giving, like you said, the whole of you. I think we give a version.
Yeah,
like
you give a version like you
right.
just want to be strong all the
Yeah.
time and all the stuff. But I think I'm blessed to have the whole thing.
Yeah, where there are no constructs. She used the word constructs.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to construct. You know what I mean? Listen.
I'm blowing the whistle. I'm blowing the whistle. Right? I'm blowing the whistle.
She came to the podcast with danger. Now experience it. So
Tell me.
yeah, I'm going to construct a follow-up question, right?
Tell me.
So what's the one thing about men that you think has been completely misunderstood by society, especially by women? As a woman, what do you think that women particularly understand now that you have stable men in your life and men who are present? What's that one thing you find other women understand about those men?
That them being the best version of themselves as a man has anything to do with going against who you are as a woman. I think that's what it is.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that. That's a real.
Yeah.
That's a real right there.
Yeah.
So just say it again. Just say it again for the audience, please. That?
Just ask the question again. Ask the question again.
Yeah. So you've said that men being the best version of themselves has anything to do with women expressing themselves as women.
Yeah, I don't think they're supposed to be. If they should have an effect on each other, they should coexist. And I think a man being the best version of himself shouldn't have an effect on who you are as a woman. It should just be collaborative and everyone working with their strengths. So whether today, to be honest, in my opinion, you are a man who isn't the most socially considered as a man, but you have something to offer and you're doing it to the best of your ability, then I believe you're a true man. I just think in any way, as long as you're giving yourself 100% to other people and also for yourself, then you're a man, you're a woman. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
That was literally like the whole collaborating and working together and coexisting was the actual reason we started this, right?
Yeah.
And that's why the first questions we always ask ladies when they sit here is about their experience with men. When we hear from them and we hear from guys and we're like honest in the middle, then we sort of create that environment and society. That's why the first question is always like that. Another question, right? So obviously you're from a younger generation, right, to a lot of people. So I'm curious because I've asked my cousin this as well. And I was saying the version that you see of like your peers of the same age that are men and the version that you see of maybe your older like father, uncles, etc. The version that you're getting, which is not the quote unquote man, because I feel like social media, you get to see different versions of men. Which version, being from your generation, do you consider like more manly? Do you consider the traditional or the new modern one? Yeah.
As I said, as I've grown up, I've just learned to accept a man for a man and not as him in the same, how can I say it? I can't generalize what a man is supposed to be. But in terms of who I prefer, you know, I think there's pros and cons from each side.
I feel like
because
that's
I was
a judicious
saying,
answer. That's a
like,
very judicious.
you know, it is, but let me just explain myself.
Okay, let's go.
I really think, as much as sometimes I'm not being fair, I love being treated by a gentleman. And I also love to be protected. I love the feeling of being protected. I love the feeling of being provided for. But then I much prefer someone who is able to not use that to get on top. I don't know if you mean. I feel like people would often think that aspect of a man is what is supposed to make them the dominant person in a relationship, and etc. etc. But to me, I don't think there's any I prefer. I think there's some pros and cons, because a lot of times you find the men that are giving you all these things want to dominate over you, and then the men who are not want to be dependent on you. So want to depend on you. Sorry. So I think I'm also a bit confused. I don't know.
There's a quote that says, "You cannot use your stability as a leash. The wise man uses it as a ladder."
Oh, that is crazy.
That's nice. That's a tattoo.
Listen. You came to the podcast. You chose the danger. So welcome to the danger.
Wow.
So I think, like, you're right. A lot of insecurities manifest themselves by you using other people's vulnerabilities to feel a sense of power and control. But in real sense, as a man, our stability should be used to, especially the positive side of being a man, is to uplift the woman that you're with, the family that you're with, and that enlightenment is what brings the best out of other people in society.
That's fact. And I feel like as time goes by, I begin to understand the concept of what is called Verstehen. It's German to mean to understand, and in sociology it just talks about being able to put yourself in everybody's shoes, put yourself in that position, and ask yourself, okay, why am I processing something like this? And so when I look at men who have chosen to be and pushing everybody down, I'm like, you know, even us ourselves as human beings, even as women, when we get power, sometimes you see yourself like you've risen above somebody else, and you begin to think, especially when it comes to money, that already puts you on top of the list or something. So yeah, I think the one thing that we must do is, one, I guess, unlearn that. But the most important thing as young people is to teach the other side, is to teach people and the people that come come after us, that's not the way to live. Because another thing, when someone has grown up and has already been exposed to the social constructs that they are, they're forever living their lives adjusting to it. And it doesn't really come naturally to yourself. So what can you do about it is make sure that when you have children, if you have children, you're teaching them this other way of living. And then they won't have to adapt, they won't have to adjust to something. It will be a part of themselves. So yeah.
You've touched on, you have a very good life philosophy, I have to say. Very observant, very... So let's talk about, like, the role of family, especially as a young girl such as yourself, and the fact that you've intentionally decided to, like, enlighten yourself on these things and to learn, especially now that you're giving us German philosophy. I just wanted to know, like, what sparked that interest within you? Because
interest to do what?
Interest to grow intellectually, spiritually, and emotionally, to the point that we can have a conversation that's, like, at this level. Because I won't lie, when I was your age, I honestly had no incentive.
I was a mess.
Yeah, I had no incentive to even... I might have been capable, or I might have been exposed to these things, but I didn't really, like you said, understand. So what is it that made you want to understand?
I think there's so many things. One, my mother is enlightened. She's not as conservative. That has an impact on the person that I am. Two, I'm a rebel, and I just rebel against so many things. And so when I'd see something, especially when it comes to social interaction that I don't agree with, I'm the first one to fight it. So after a while of fighting and being like, okay, so why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? I just took a step back and began to understand that we were not all raised the same. We were not all exposed to the same thing, and our level and ability to adjust to a certain way of living isn't a strength that, let me say, Africans, or rather even I as an African have, because culture has been stabbed into you day by day. So I began to understand, and I don't know, to be honest, it's such a big thing. I feel like if we went to therapy, there would be like a whole tree as to how this whole thing happened. However, I would just say I've been exposed to a lot of things early, and instead of being wildly affected, I made the choice to actively work on some of these things and do better, especially with the change I'm trying to make in the industry, and we'll talk about it later. It was important for me to do so.
You're literally an example of that's given a lot of context for me, right? Because one of the videos I interacted with when I was like going into the Nikita hole was when you were really young, right? And you did that interview and you were talking about how you want to be a musician on Citizen, right? And what I saw there as a 9-year-old was somebody in an environment, like you said, your mum, that's not very like stick to the rules. She's very exposed. Like nurturing that talent, being there in interviews saying, yeah, my kid wants to do this as well. And that's not typical of the African narrative, right?
It's not.
A lot of the time it's like, no, okay, singing is cute, but we're not going to nurture this. So I think what you've just said there about having that exposure in your home probably gave you, I don't know if I'm reaching here, but probably gave you that spark to be like, if I like this and I'm affirmed from someone that I respect, that I can do it, it kind of propelled you to do this today.
100%. And having an example of someone who was able to open their eyes and broaden their mind only rubbed off on me in the right way.
So Chumba grew.
Chumba grew. She grew and she's still growing. I feel like 5 years I might watch this interview and be like, what the hell were you saying, girl? But I think the most important thing, and one thing I'm trying to work on every day, is to understand. And I think that's it.
It's really incredible. Like I won't lie, from my perspective, to find someone who has achieved success at such a young age, and I happen to know a little bit about your family, has come from a family that, you know, has nurtured her and groomed her, and you admit to being rebellious, but the way you've done it is you've done it within certain parameters where you've kept your stability and your...
there's an ugly side. Let me just say. There's been the ugly side of it, but thank God it was short. And I think it just took years of growing as well. You know, as a teenager, you think you know everything until I think life shows you. But one thing I'm really grateful for is that, again, my parents allowed me to explore. And so a lot of the things that I know, I got to learn the hard way.
There it is. I was wondering.
You said go and figure it out.
Like I was wondering, because I was like, you're sitting in your house, you're playing the piano, you're opening books. There had to be some life experience, because the way you speak...
100%.
The way you speak is someone who's experienced some things in life that at a young age that forced you or kind of pushed you towards chasing this knowledge and this hunger to grow and better yourself.
100%, 100%. And there's always pros and cons, or the good and bad side of being overexposed to some things. But it depends on how you use your struggles.
What does music mean to you now?
Music is it's how I communicate. Every time I'm sad or I remember things that have happened before, the first thing that I do I sing it. Social media kind of, without you knowing, really dictates who you're supposed to be at a certain time. And I started challenging myself and putting a time stamp or putting a cap on what I should have done at what point, because I was seeing other people succeeding.